Hello everybody, thanks for joining me for this week's question and answer video. I hope everyone's starting the year off well, feeling good. If not, make it better, try to. This is a weekly question and answer video where I answer people's questions from last week's question and answer video. I encourage all of you to go down below into the comment section, ask me whatever you want. I'll answer it next week in the next question and answer video, which is next Monday. I like to recommend something every week. Sometimes I recommend authors and their books or supplements and things you guys can do to get better sleep or things like this. This week, I'm going to recommend a few things, but it's about being positive. Real simple. Smile. Smile more. Smile when you're out and about. Have a little smile on your face. Be outgoing. Be engaging and introduce yourself. Positivity. Instead of saying something's bad, try to say it's good. You know, like the glass is half full rather than half empty. These kinds of things will really, really help you guys. Give someone a compliment. I tell you guys to compliment yourself and say good things to yourself. Do it to somebody else, okay? Maybe consider giving your time to somebody. Donate your time to somewhere, some good cause, somebody that needs it, something like that. These things feel really, really good, and it changes our perspective on the world and our environment and people, which is something that we need to do if we're depressed, okay? So please consider doing that. At least one of them, all right? Okay, so let's get into the questions. I got a few. I pick out a few questions to read to you guys and answer. This one is from JRM in Baltimore. Hello, JR. I was just reading your comment to someone about dealing with someone who has an avoidant attachment style. So I looked up attachment styles. I thought I was dealing with another borderline, but come to find out, there's actually a syndrome in people with fearful attachment who do this come closer, go away dynamic. I hate you, don't leave me is another one that borderlines do. That's actually a book, good book. But dealing with what feels like I dealt with in my relationships with borderlines, but without the rage. I usually get, the rage that you usually get from women that you believe have borderline. Usually when I put boundaries on a borderline, they will lash out at me and overstep them out. So far, that hasn't happened in this situation. So my question, not only for me, but in case anyone else in a similar situation, is do you think someone with fearful attachment can get better, or am I just spinning my wheels here? Thanks. I'm in Baltimore. Okay, so you're talking about a fearful attachment, but then you addressed, I think that's what you call it, fearful attachment or syndrome, I think, right? Avoidant attachment styles, fearful attachment. It's actually a syndrome. So you're talking about different things. When you're talking about a style and a syndrome, a disorder, these are all very, very different. It's very important to understand this. Attachment styles aren't bad. They aren't good. They aren't healthy. They are unhealthy. It's just the way that we are. And attachment styles are set by us typically at first from the attention we get from our parents. Okay? A fearful attachment style would be, you're going to leave me, you're going to leave me, you're going to leave me. That's what happened probably in their childhood, or that's what they perceived, that's how they felt. So attachment styles is just one thing, and that doesn't explain that we all have attachment styles. So do borderlines. So a borderline could have a fearful attachment style. It's not separate. They can both have it. The borderline could have both. The fearful attachment syndrome, okay, is where it starts causing problems. Do you see that? The style doesn't cause problems. It's just the way we are. It's not good or bad. And styles can change. So most common is people are becoming more of a unsure, anxious attachment style today. And I truly believe that's the lack of attention that children are getting from parents, whether they're divorced or they're both seeking careers, stuff like this. And so, but that can change. We can grow up attachment, anxious style until we learn to have secure relationships and we start to have a more secure attachment style. The syndrome is where it's going to start causing problems. And a borderline can have all of this. A borderline can have a fearful attachment style or any other attachment style and also have fearful attachment syndrome. Do you see that? You can't differentiate and say, oh, they're not borderline, they just have fearful attachment syndrome. Well, that could be. But you can't rule out a personality disorder because of a syndrome. So people that have personality disorders are very, very, very prone to all kinds of different syndromes and different disorders. Someone with borderline personality disorder could have addiction disorder, could have anxiety disorder, could have many different syndromes, sleeping problems, anger, all of this stuff. Okay, that's very typical. I couldn't imagine someone with borderline personality disorder doesn't have any other problems. I mean, it's kind of like C-PTSD. It's more of an umbrella term. You have C-PTSD, that means you're probably going to have depression, you're going to have anxiety, you might have addictions, you might have sleep problems, and do you see that? And syndromes and things like this. So I hope I'm clear with that explanation. Let me know, JR. Okay, let me know if I made sense and if I helped you understand something, because I'm not exactly sure if I did answer your question. The come closer, go away is actually a thing. It's a borderline thing. Yeah, you're right. It's I hate you, don't leave me. Push-pull game is what it's called. Hot and cold, on, off. Yeah. The idealizing, devalue. I mean, it can just constantly happen many times throughout one day. But that does not rule out a personality disorder because of their style or syndromes they have. And put it all together. Okay? I hope I helped. Let me know if I answered your question. Thank you. Next one is from Nikki from the United Kingdom. Hello. Thanks for being an amazing source of advice to me over the years. You're welcome. Thanks for telling me. I'm out of the relationship which led me to your channel after a couple of years. I now need your advice. Again, please. I am now in a new relationship with a man who began as friends, then agreed to try a relationship. 5 months in, we barely have intimate relations regardless of me making an effort. My concern is that his adult child has BPD quite badly. I worry if this is a genetic trait, as emotionally he seems disconnected and hardly ever looks at me or touches me or makes me feel like I'm in a relationship. Can I get your perspective on this, please? Yeah, Nikki, and I think something like this requires a little bit more dialogue, at least maybe follow-up questions. Okay, so I'll go with what you have here and let me know what you think. And so you have a couple different things here, okay? And the intimacy and sex and being close. And we're just talking about attachment styles. He may have what's called an avoidant attachment style. And we all seek attachment. And this might be confusing, but people with avoidant attachment styles still seek attachment. So they go on dating sites and they go and date you, and you won't really know until you start getting intimate and close, and that's where they might start pushing you away, and they might not be aware they're doing this, okay? Because doesn't that sound counterproductive, right? I'm going to go meet people and go on dates and then just push them away. They may not be aware they're doing that, okay? And so these are things we learn about people before we get committed, before we live together, before we sleep together, because this stuff does surface. Okay, you get close at first, they may not care, it may not bother them, they may like it at first, and then they start getting attached to you, start emotionally connecting, they may not like that and push that away. That might take a little time. But the intimacy, it's a problem. Some couples don't have sex, some couples aren't intimate, and both people are fine with that. Okay, I can't imagine that, but sounds more like a business deal. But that's, we're all different, okay? And couples set the terms of their relationship, and there's nobody that's allowed to judge those terms. Couples are weird, right? They share two brains together, become one brain, and they're weird. Really. Whatever the terms they set on is the terms. Now, it sounds like you've got some terms you're not agreeing to, because that's the important part, is that terms must be spoken and agreed upon. Sounds like he's got some terms, sounds like you've got some terms, and it sounds like they're not going to match. And so you have a problem in this relationship because it doesn't feel good. We need to make ourselves feel better. How are you going to do that? I recommend talking to somebody, okay? Stepping outside of this relationship, getting some help and support. Professional is always the best. Yeah, someone that you can trust and open up to and tell them all this stuff and say, hey, I don't like this. I can't take it, because there's a decision you need to make. Can I accept this or can I not? And I would try really hard. If you don't like it, if you want to be closer and more intimate, tell him, see what his response is, listen to it and accept it. Because if he keeps saying, yeah, I want to too, but he's not, then we have to say there's either a problem why we can't be close, or he's not being truthful or accurate, doesn't know himself very well. And that's where professional help will come in. Because the more you got to understand, communication makes things happen, good or bad. right? You can avoid 5 years of relationship being stagnant, meaningless, and purposeless by just communicating and saying, I don't like this, it's got to change or we're done. And if the other person wants to try hard enough, they'll try hard enough. And if it doesn't work, it's over. We don't have to waste time, right? So communication will always make things happen. Whether it's good, we make it, now it works out. And it all started because I said I have a problem. We started working on it together and talking. And if we can't do that together, it's too hard, then we get help. That's all. These things aren't easy. Okay, so back to the adult child has BPD quite badly. Okay. I worry this is a genetic trait. No, it's not. This becomes very confusing for a lot of people. I've noticed by the questions I get about this. Borderline personality disorder. We're talking about personality. We don't form our personality until we enter adulthood. It's that simple. There are 3 factors that contribute to who we become. And our genetics from our parents, our environment, how we were raised by our parents, and then a culture that we were born into and raised in. Okay? When you're talking about a personality disorder, it's a little less culture, it's a little less genetics, but they do come into play. So borderline personality disorder is very high neurosis typically. So you can have 2 people, the exact same conditions, which never happens, but let's, for experimental sake, 2 children, same exact age, raised the exact same way. One turns out borderline, one does not. How did that happen? Well, if it was truly the exact same way, which again, it can't happen, but let's just say it is, if they're raised the exact same way, one has borderline, one does not, we can trace that back probably back to genetics. As long as culture wasn't a major factor that was different for them or something, raised the same way, same culture. You would say one was born a little higher neurosis, one wasn't, because my mom is high neurosis. People with borderline in their family, you'll typically in bloodline, typically in that family line, they might have schizophrenia, schizotypal. These are linked. Schizotypal, schizophrenia, and borderline are actually linked genetically. It's very common. Someone has borderline personality disorder. You also have an uncle that sits there and kind of mumbles and talks to himself, says some weird things, inappropriate, stuff like this. Yeah? So there is that genetic factor, but that's not what decides that somebody has a personality disorder. No. It's the way they were raised is the biggest factor, okay? But you can't just say it was always the way you were raised. I have a lot of parents that don't understand how their child became borderline. Typically, it's because the parent was neglected and doesn't understand the effects and damages of neglect, and so their child was neglected either by that parent unknowingly or the other parent. Okay, and then a lot of people say, well, my child was never abused, never neglected. I don't understand they turned out to have borderline. How do you know they were never neglected or abused? A lot of children are sexually abused, never say anything. Right? So you could be not aware that you're neglecting or abusing your child. You could be not aware that your child was neglected and abused by somebody else. There's 2 parents, and I get just so much. Oh, dad left it. Dad left and the child was a 7, wasn't really around, so it couldn't be the dad. Well, we need a dad. Dad abandoned the family. I mean, that's freaking huge. Do you see? When I see something like this, dad is avoidant. Dad doesn't like intimacy. Dad pushes me away, doesn't like sex. Also has an adult child with borderline. There's some serious family dynamics going on where neglect, at the very least, emotional neglect is profound. Profound. Maybe abuse. So I'm thinking you're asking me, your worry about it being genetic is that he might have borderline because his daughter has borderline and he's kind of odd. You're just asking me if this is a genetic trait. No. Genetic factor, not genetic trait. Does that make sense? Let me know. Thanks, Nikki. One thing we can't ever compromise are our moral values in a relationship. Both people have to share the same values, whatever those are. After that, what can I put up with? What can I accept? And I use the example of eating with my mouth open, right? Some people can accept that. Some people cannot. If you cannot, don't. You put that on your list and say, I can't take people even with mouth closed. See? Okay, October Girl. And I remember you're from Tennessee. This is my 4th time trying to post a comment about your video called A Narcissist Test. I'm sorry, I'm being shadow banned, so Subscriptions pop off. You can vote for my video and it won't stick. You can comment and it won't stick. So I really appreciate you guys keep trying, because it's damaged my channel so badly. But the thing that helps, man, is voting. So I watched it twice, and I'm going back to it every time I doubt my mother is one, and I start to believe her that I'm the problem. I'm not. I know I don't want to hurt people, and if they tell me I did, I feel terrible and want to make them feel better. In fact, I would rather hurt myself than someone else. I think I need to watch it 100 times. It's hard to believe about my own mother, but it fits her 100%. She doesn't love me, so now I can't stop expecting it or expecting her to change or take responsibility for anything she says or does to me. Amazing video. It's obvious even just from that video you've been through this stuff. I'm sorry for that, but it makes you so amazing at teaching on it. Thanks. Thank you so much for making that video. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Very nice of you. And I'm sorry about your mother. It's really sad. When I see estranged, bad, toxic relationships between mothers and daughters, for some reason it affects me more. I just think it's so important, and I see that the daughters are more affected by this than sons, and both children are more affected by the mom relationships. So the mother and daughter is very important. It's very sad to see it like this. I remember you telling me in another comment recently you're 18, so you're extremely young. And it seems like you're not getting along with your mom. It seems like your mom's getting involved and kind of controlling you, telling you what to do with stuff. And still, you're still just kind of a child. Listen to her. If she makes you feel bad, that's got to stop. Okay? So you try to let her know, hey, this makes me feel bad. And when she says you're the problem, I want specifics, right? Because what's important, if you want her in your life, it sounds like you don't, but if you do, what's important, if you change your mind, you want to try, what's important is that from your mother's side, that you know that she tells you. What have I done? Am I doing something that stresses you out, that hurts you, that bothers you, instead of you just nitpicking my life? And I get it, Mom, I need advice. That's great. Thank you. But you're just, because what I don't want is just generals. Right? You're the problem. You're just that. You're this, that. You're just that. That kind of stuff is bad, right? It's just, it's negative. It's lowering your self-worth and esteem possibly. So, Mom, what is it? What is it that I do specifically? Tell me one specific thing I do. And if she's not, and she's just being general, she keeps doing these things, keeps hurting you, won't talk to you, won't work with you, won't connect with you, then yeah, I would advise getting some space. Time to move out. Probably the best advice. Yeah, but I remember some other comments you've given me about your mother, and it sounds like there's a little codependency. And I mean, yeah, she's your mom and you're 18, so I expect her to still, it must be hard to stop telling you what to do at this point right away. I can't imagine what that's like, and still scared that you're gonna make big bad mistakes. And I remember one comment you were saying that she's telling you don't meet men and men are bad and stuff like this. And so it sounds like Mom's had some really bad experiences that she's not quite healed from, and so she's failing at relationships. If this is the cause, she's failing at relationships as she's not learning from them and trying again, and she's trying to stay safe, and then she's trying to keep her daughter safe. But I get it. Mom wants to keep daughter safe. I get that totally, and it's too bad that she can't find a better way to do it. If you can find a better way to talk to her about it and listen to her and tell her how she makes you feel. And remember, be very, very specific, and expect her and want her and ask her to be very, very specific, okay? I'm sorry. Thanks for your question. Let me know if I answered or helped. Willa from New Jersey. Hello, Willa. I feed the pigeons and stray cats in my neighborhood. Do you feed the pigeons to the stray cats? Some guy said, do you still live across the street? In my opinion, he was looking to take advantage of someone. My question is, how do emphatic, I think you're saying empathetic, giving people avoid being a target from people who are just looking for someone for nothing? I always look forward to your Q&As. It's just boundaries, Willa, right? And it's good to practice boundaries on people we don't know. It's a little easier. I use an example. When I was about 14, I had to work downtown in a city. I didn't live downtown, but I had to work downtown already at that age. And I would take the bus, and I would get dropped off at the bus bus, not station, but like the street. And that's where all the panhandlers are. And I try to walk to work and like, hey, you spare a quarter? Hey, you got some change? You got $1? And I'd be like, oh God, oh no, God. And I ended up giving, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, okay. Not everybody, but I'd give away. And with 14, I don't have much money. I ended up giving away $1 or something, and back then that was a lot more money, and it might have been a third or a fourth of my lunch, or half my lunch I give away and stuff like this, and and I would get so angry at myself, and so I got to say no, start lying with no, I'm broke, sorry, I don't have any. God, I wish I could. God, maybe tomorrow. And it built back up to eventually just no, thank you. So when people want to ask me for stuff that I don't want to give, and people like to ask. And people that like to ask for things and ask for help all the time, usually they ask for too much, But no, thank you. And I'll never forget everyone's face when they say, hey, man, you got some change? I'm like, oh, no, thank you. Hey, you got a quarter? Oh, no, thanks. Hey, you got $1? Oh, no, thanks. And they're all just, huh? And it worked. So I stuck with it. It works. Say, no, thank you. Stop worrying about what people think. Yeah? Especially people you don't know. Yeah? And we don't know. We don't know people's intentions and stuff, but all that matters is how you feel. And if that's how you feel, we'll learn to say, no, thank you. You say it nice with a smile. How much nicer can you let someone down than that? I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure if I did. Let me know, Willa. Thank you. Emily Taylor. Emily from Latvia. Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for answering my question. Now I understand after you told comparison about burning cream. Now I get it. Million thanks. Brilliant knowledge. Thank you, Emily. I was telling Emily that Emily asked a question, something to the effect of why do I still feel bad even though like I'm not dating the person that I'm around all the time. They traumatize me, they stress me out and stuff like this, but we're not together, but I still have to deal with them. And it's the source. It's the source. It's like staying over a fire, putting burning cream on, wondering why the burning cream ain't working. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know, Emily. I hope you and your beautiful daughters are well. Emily Merton from South Africa. Hi, Emily. Another Emily. Why do people with unstable personalities constantly change into one person then another? Can you make them stop or become aware of it? You can't make people do anything. You can try to point things out to help people be aware. Sure. Usually that's a good thing. Pick your battles wisely. Yeah, we don't always have to correct and show everything to everybody, right? But if it's something that usually it's because I want to have a relationship with you and I want you to do that so it keeps working out, so I'm going to tell you. Why do people with unstable personalities constantly change into one person or another? Because they don't know who they are. Think about when you're a child and you want to be this and you want to be that and you want to be this, and it all sounds great at the moment. And then it takes to put on my police hat, my police badge, and my police gun to realize, no, I really want to be a cowboy. Okay, well, I'll take all this off. I want to be a cowboy so bad. I want to be a cowboy. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. Oh, great, we're going to the ranch, and I get to put on my cowboy boots, and I get to put on my cowboy hat, and I'm a cowboy. And I have to walk around in animal feces all the time, and it's dirty, nasty, hot, it's gross, sweaty, and I don't want to be a cowboy no more, so I'm going to take it all off, and now I want to be an Indian. I would rather be an Indian. I want to be an Indian, put on my feathers. Do you see this? Adults don't typically need to do this and go down every single alley in life. I don't have to be an astronaut, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse to know that I don't want to be. Yeah? I have some sort of basis. I always hold up my hand, these fingers, my true authentic self. Okay? Awareness means I know exactly what I need, exactly what I want, exactly what I value, exactly how I feel, my opinion on these things. And when I'm sure about these things, they don't change much. They can change, sure, and they will, but not every day. Okay? I know. If I don't know, and I don't realize that I value respect and loyalty and honesty, and I start valuing money and sex a lot, and I think that's what I need, now I don't know who I am. And these things will change a lot, and I'll say I love sex and money, and then I'll just lose a bunch of money, and people use me for money. I hate money. I'm sick of money, and then now I like this, and now I like money again. Might be hard to explain. I might not be helping you understand. If I don't know what I want, imagine I'll waste my goddamn time, won't I? I mean, if I know exactly what I want and I'm going to achieve these things, I'm going to do one thing every day to get me closer to what I want, it starts to feel good. If I think I want this, but I don't really try, and I want this, and I try a little bit and fail, I don't like it, it just doesn't feel good. It feels unstable. Imagine if you value honesty and loyalty and respect more than anything in the world, and you go and cheat, lie, and steal. How does that feel? It feels unstable. And if you do it more and more and more, you're picking up your principles, you're moving them all over the place. It gets easier to lie, it gets easier to steal, it gets easier to cheat, less conscious aware of it, less regret and remorse. We don't know who we are. We just don't. And it feels horrible. I hope I've explained why people are like this a little bit. I've used an example of a method actor. A method actor would be somebody who completely dives into their role, and they're that role throughout the entire filming of the movie, even when they go home. And I think of it, and I'm not saying actors are like this, and this is why. But what I'll say is, the method actor has to do this to become this role, because it's not so easy to just envelop himself in his role, because he's got his life and he's got his wife and he's got his children and he's got all these different groups he's involved in, and he's a really good baseball player and he's a really good cook and he really likes this and that. But the role totally in the movie is completely different than him, and it's hard to do that. So I'm going to envelop myself, and I'm going to tell my family I got to not really talk to you guys much for the next month or two until I'm really in this role. And do you see that? But say somebody who doesn't know who they are, a total unstable personality, you can hand them a script on a set of a soap opera, and they can just be whoever they want anytime. It doesn't matter. Does that help? I don't know. I don't know if that helps. It's kind of showing you what it's like. Yeah, I hope that helps. Let me know, Emily. Keep asking more questions, please, about this, because it's interesting. And, we need to know who we are. Your self-awareness is your compass. It is your guide. We can't live by other people's rules that you should do this and you should do that, and that's yourself beating yourself up after. No, it doesn't. There's no shoulds. Not too many right or wrongs. It's about how you feel. Go live your life, explore things, find out who you are. Yeah. MB, Mel from the Bay Area. Hi, Mel. What do you have to say about jealousy, specifically a partner that feels jealousy? I would love to hear about what you have to say about both sides of this coin. What's the other side of the coin? Secure? So, I've always been a pretty secure person. I can give you many examples of how I've been secure in relationships, big time. Now, when a person is not around much, doesn't answer their phone, I find out later they were cheating, I might get a little jealous. If someone that you care about is going behind your back and you find out they're hanging out with your friends, talking crap about you, don't want much to do with you anymore, jealousy is a fear of loss, okay? So if we fear losing somebody, that would be jealousy. But it doesn't mean that you're this jealous type of person, per se. Meaning that you can't ever feel secure. Like you can't ever trust someone. No, I can. I feel very secure and I trust somebody until all of a sudden I realize, man, they're not around anymore. Like at all. Like they don't answer the phone. They take 2 days. They're not really looking at me. They don't want to hang out anymore. All these signs that there's something very wrong and maybe someone else. I might start getting afraid of losing somebody. So what we need to understand is relationships require needs. They have needs, and we have emotional needs, and we have to learn how to meet our emotional needs for ourselves, and we have to learn how to meet emotional needs in relationships. Okay? Most important thing in your life. And for most people, the most important emotional need is security, emotional security. That might be the most important thing in your guys' life, emotional security. And so I have to be a secure person and feel and reassure myself, David's going to be okay. Don't worry. Oh, you're a good person. You find somebody else. Oh, David. See, I'm reassuring myself. I'm secure. And when I enter a relationship, we need to do this for each other. Okay, and so when I feel insecure and hey babe, you feel a little distant, come closer to me, tell me you love me, tell me this, reassure me, we're still getting married, right? And we do this for each other. Okay, now I may not be a secure person, say. Now, different scenario. Maybe I don't reassure myself very well. Okay, maybe maybe I'm in a relationship with somebody and they're so truthful and so honest all the time, transparent, tell me where they are, reassure me, but I just keep feeling jealous, jealous, jealous. Well, that's a me problem, and that will come out with communication in the with the couple. And if you need some help, a professional can point that out. But you can finally arise at some time with, "Hey, babe, I'm reassuring you as much as possible, and you need more reassurance, and I don't feel like giving it." Now that some people don't want to reassure each other all the time. That's that type of person. Somebody with an anxious, unsure attachment style needs somebody to reassure them more often. I don't mind reassuring people I love. I'll reassure people I love all the time. I love you. Hell yeah, we're still getting married. Oh, hell yeah, we're still best friends. Hell yeah, I can't wait to see you next month. Hell yeah, no problem. Not everybody wants to do that. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means that I don't want to reassure somebody every day. I want to say I love you and I want them to accept it, and that's the way I want it to be. So when you ask me, how do I feel about a jealous partner? Well, do you see, it could be somebody who's insecure already, and then their partner can't reassure them enough. They're jealous, they're afraid of losing you. It could be that they are secure, but in the relationship, you're not reassuring them enough. Maybe you don't like to, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you're doing things that make them feel insecure. If you say you're going to call someone at 10 p.m. and you don't call them at 10 p.m., and then 11, and then at midnight, and then you don't call them that night, that doesn't feel very good. It doesn't have much integrity. It's not very respectful. You're not meeting the person's emotional need of reassuring them, making them feel secure. Do you see that? And if the next day they don't say, "Oh my gosh, that was awful, I fell asleep, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, and I'll never do that again, okay, I love you," and they hopefully they can reassure that person enough, and it's all good now. But if you wake up and that person's just saying, "Oh God, so what, I didn't call you, what, you're so insecure," this person may not like that. It may not work. I hope I answered your question. Please let me know. Okay, Mel? And that's why we have emotional needs we have to meet for ourselves, and that's why they have to be met in a relationship. If I can't meet my emotional needs myself, I become dependent on someone else to do that for me, and it won't work. It's too external. Hope that makes sense. Let me know, Mel. Thanks. Victoria from the Bay Area. I've been disconnected from my toxic family for a year now. My morning ritual is to get up and have a cup of coffee 5 minutes later. I'm in tears for at least 10 to 20 minutes, and then I feel better. It's a release of tears. I just can't hold it in. But lately the tears have been lasting longer, up to 3 hours. Should I be concerned? Maybe, Victoria. Why don't you go talk to somebody about this? Professional, psychologist or a therapist or something like this. A stress disorder would be if you're in a traumatic relationship that's very stressful and it ends and you don't feel better after a month, you could have a stress disorder. So there could be something going on. There could be some kind of problem, Victoria. But, nobody wants to feel this way for too long. We might have troubles making ourselves feel better, Victoria. Yeah. This is stuff that I work with my clients all the time. There's a bunch of different things that I have my clients do. One is a feel-good list. And we do this when we feel good, not when we feel bad. When we feel bad and we feel down and depressed, we can't think of the good things that make us feel good. We don't feel like doing them. But when you have somebody like me in your life saying, "Hey, make this list. Let's think of every little thing that makes Victoria feel good," and you've got this huge list and you feel bad, you can always come to this list and do things that make yourself feel better. The major one is reaching out to people, talk to somebody. Okay? Your question is, should I be concerned? Yeah. Doesn't feel good, does it? So let's see what we can do to make ourselves feel better, Victoria, without worrying about some diagnosis or label or Yeah? It doesn't feel good, right? I couldn't imagine. And I'm sorry that you're crying that much for that long. Find out why. Release it. There's probably stuff that you need to talk about, Victoria. Okay? That's all. Talk about it. We feel better. Might be some things that you can do to stop feeling this way. There probably something that's causing you to feel this way. Let's try to find out what that is. Yeah. Thank you, Victoria. Salema from France, again, she says. Hi, Salema. What is it that makes you peaceful? What is it that gives you calm? What gives you peace? Well, thanks for asking. I wrote down here, I answered, people I love, Danny girl, my dog, accomplishment, and learning. Those are some of my favorite things in my life that make me feel the best. My little girl, the people I love, accomplishing things, even small, tiny little, one little thing, and learning. Thank you for asking. And Moonbeam88 says, Happy New Year, David. Thank you, Moonbeam. Happy New Year. And that's it. Oh, I close with that because it's the last one. Happy New Year, guys. Everybody. I hope this year will be better no matter what than last year. If you had a great year last year, let's still have a better one. If you had a horrible year last year, gotta have a better one this year, yeah? Some of this stuff we're in control of. Some of this we are not. And wisdom is to know that difference, what I'm in control of and what I'm not. And what I'm in control of, I can do something about it. Let's do something positive. Let's smile. The glass is half full. Yeah. Be outgoing. Meet people. Hi. Introduce yourself. Ask them how they're feeling. Okay. All right. That's it. Thanks, guys. Always ask questions, okay? If I miss it, ask me again. If you don't understand my question or my answer, ask me again. Keep a little dialogue. Let me know. I really use your guys' votes up or down. Subscribe to the channel. Let you know when more videos come out throughout the week. And love yourself first, guys, okay? And I will see you soon. Bye.